this tutorial, we will learn the use of Lofted Bend. The Lofted Bend tool is similar to the Surface Bend or the Solid Bend tool. Basically, we will create two sketches at two different planes. It can be of two different shapes, and we just merge the or create the pattern based on that, or the model in this case. So let's first make the front plane visible. Using it as a reference, let's create another plane. Let's say it is 100 millimeters away from one another. Okay, now on the front plane, let's draw a sketch of a circle. Now, one thing to remember while using the sheet metal tool is these circles or rectangles or whatever design we're going to create has to be open-ended. Otherwise, we cannot cut and then bend sheet metal. Okay, so once we have this, let's create 2 points somewhere. Let's say somewhere along this point, and set it as for construction. Okay, using the trim entities, we will trim away this part to make it open-ended. Okay, once done, we're gonna exit the sketch. The next is the first plane that we created. Let's create a sketch here. Let's make it a rectangle. That's it. It's something similar to this. Okay, using the convert entities tool, let's get the construction lines from there, right, and trim this part so that it's open, and we also don't need that line anymore. Now we have two open-ended sketches. Okay, we want to go into the sheet metal tool. From there, we will select the Lofted Bend. We select the first profile, we select the second profile, and it will create the Lofted Bended design for us. Okay, that being said, on the Lofted Bend tool, we have different faceting options. So let's start one by one. Okay, let's start with the chord tolerance. Okay, so chord tolerance is basically, let's say, how many bends we are doing in the tolerance limit, and what will be the value of that, right? Let's say if we're doing one bend every 2 millimeters, you will see this is how the number of bends have been reduced. One thing to remember, if the value is much higher, and that's, let's say you're working with a circle, it will not be a perfect circle. It will have a hard, rough edge, like you can see right now. And if it's too much of a low number, it will kind of be hard to do if someone is trying to create this manually. So it has to be within a reasonable tolerance, let's say 1 millimeter or so. The next one is number of bends. So instead of selecting this arc's length, what you can do is select the number of bends in each of the corner points. So let's say instead of 5, you want only two bends. You see, this is not going to be a perfect face. But if you create, let's say, 10 bends within that limit point, it's going to be a perfect circle. But then again, we have to agree with the reality and make sure it's not messing up with our setup. So let's go with the 5, or let's say, or 4 of them. Okay, or you can also look into the segment length. The segment length is basically instead of the curvature that we were considering on the chord tolerance, it's directly a line from this point till this point. The smaller it is, the better. And next is the segment angle. So you can select the angle at which all these curvatures have to be made. Obviously, smaller angles will give you a perfect rounded shape, but we need to decide based on what is much more easily doable by a manual, unless you're using some automated machines. Okay, we can also set up the auto relief options. We can have let's say a round or rectangle based on what you have in mind, and that is for the design. And once you have this, select whatever you prefer. Let's say we have a 6 here. Just click OK, and it will create a lofted bend for you.